Hello everyone, this is your unemployed chef. Today's video is a special one because I'll be doing not one, but two recipes. I'll be doing a steak recipe, and my other recipe will be a custom vinaigrette recipe for my salad right here. So let's get started. I have a pre-seasoned sirloin steak, about 1 inch thick, and it's seasoned with a marinade of lemon juice, olive oil, salt, pepper, thyme, and garlic. Over here, I have a mixed green salad with some sliced tomatoes, carrots, green onions. So now I'm going to heat my pan up to 4. And I'm going to melt some of my clarified butter in the pan. It really doesn't matter how much, but just enough to give it a good coating. It's about this much. And I'm just going to let that melt. So my butter looks like this right now in the pan, and I'm just waiting for it to get hot. In the meantime, I'm going to put a little bit extra black pepper on my steak. Just a little bit more garlic powder. You can never have enough garlic. And then just rub that in. You could use your hands, but I don't like to get my pretty hands dirty. Flip it and do it to the other side. And season some of the fat. And then some more black pepper. And while my pan's heating up, I'll be making my vinaigrette. So first and foremost, I don't think it really matters what type of vinegar you use for your vinaigrette, but I guess the best one to start with would be white vinegar. And I'm going to use 2 tablespoons. Better yet, make that 4. And what we're going to do, the only thing I'm good at in chemistry is making emulsion. And emulsion is just a mixture of 2 things that shouldn't mix naturally. So that is vinegar and oil. And then I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of oil, canola oil. You can also use olive oil. I just prefer to use canola oil because I just need to use this container up. I know that's lazy cooking, but it's Friday night. I'm trying to get down with my steak, and yeah. So 2 tablespoons of oil. And I highly recommend, if you don't have a steady hand, putting the oil into something with a nozzle like this measuring cup, because now we're going to actually slowly pour in the oil. And as we're pouring in the oil, we're going to whisk vigorously like this. This is where the emulsion takes place. And make sure that you don't get impatient, because if you don't whisk, the emulsion won't form, and you'll have a very odd vinaigrette. Get that a good whisk. Alrighty. So my oil and vinegar is mixed, and now it's time to season. Here's some pepper. Here's some garlic. And then I'm just going to whisk it again. And last step, Put in about a pinch of sugar. And the purpose of the sugar and the vinaigrette is to cut down on the acidity and provide a little bit of sweetness. So you're going to mix that in very well. And there you go. A basic vinaigrette. Brought to you by yours truly. And now let's get to the steak. So my pan and oil or butter is very hot. It's only on 4, but like I said, cast iron retains heat very well. And I'm going to lay down my steak firmly. And I'm going to give it a good sear. Now, since I don't eat my steak well done like some other people, I am going to cook my steak for about, I'll try 2 minutes on each side first. I'm trying to achieve a medium texture. So if you remember from my other videos, one way to tell if a steak is done is this is your rare, medium, medium well, and well done texture. So the tighter your muscle, that will be the doneness of the steak. So I'm going for a medium. I'm going to put my timer on the clock. And let's go. And I also want to mention, which is very important, I recommend taking your steak out about 1 hour before you actually cook it, because what the steak does in the fridge is it gets very tense, like your own muscles when you're out in the cold. So take your steak out an hour before you put it in a pan or you cook it, so the muscles can relax and so that it can cook a lot more evenly. Just a pro tip. Okay, so my timer went off, and I'm going to check the other side. Look at that crust. So if it looks like this, I'm going to cook it just a little bit more for another minute. And now we wait. Not all steaks are made the same, so what my piece of steak may take to cook, your piece of steak may take a little bit longer or a lot less longer. It just depends on the weight of the steak and the size of the steak and what cut of meat the steak comes from. Okay, my timer's off and it's time to flip and do a doneness check. Okay. So I'm checking for medium. So I'm going to use not my pointer finger, but actually my thumb. And it's actually medium. Perfect. And I'm going to put this side on for about 2 minutes, because I do not want overdone rubbery steak. Okay, my steak is done. And now the most important step is to let it rest. You should let your steak rest for about, I would say, 3 minutes. Letting your steak rest will allow all the juices to reabsorb in the steak and keep it juicy. So don't cut right into it. And while my steak is resting, I'm going to pour on a little bit of my homemade vinaigrette. So this vinaigrette is good for about, I would say, 3 handfuls of greens. Vinaigrettes are a lot thinner than the regular salad dressing, so you really don't need that much. It's very thin. Like so. And no guys, I did not forget my salt. I prefer to put my salt on after the cooking, right after. So I'm just going to sprinkle some on. Flip to the other side. And it's almost done resting. And look at that. Look at that juicy, not well done, not rubbery, not chewy, not leather steak. Just to set this mood for Friday night dinner. I know some of you guys may have your stimulus checks that may have hit your bank account, so you can eat like this. Because when those stimulus checks hit in, everybody should be eating good. So this is your unemployed chef, and always chase that young.